First this afternoon, Mayor Johnson's office faces more challenges. Today, the mayor addressed reports his top political advisor voted in Texas during the last election.
Political reporter Paris Schutz has more on the mayor's response. And Paris, it appears to violate local law that says city employees must actually be residents of Chicago.
Tia, it appears so. We don't know that. We'd need the law department or the inspector general to formally weigh in. But Johnson says the state of Texas is looking into the matter involving his top political advisor, Jason Lee. Now, the Chicago Tribune reported on Friday that Lee, who lives in Chicago, was actually registered and voted in Texas in the 2024 election. Lee explained that he wanted to vote for his sister there, who was running for a seat held by his late mother, longtime Democratic politician Sheila Jackson Lee. But Lee helped elect Mayor Brandon Johnson and has listed a Chicago address as his official residence. So Mayor Johnson says he'll have more to say when more information comes to light.
It's a matter that is being looked into right now, and what comes of this is something that we'll have to address as that information becomes more available. What I do know about Jason is that he comes from a legacy of leadership and organizing on behalf of working people, and I know his value system in that regard, and I'm very much appreciative of him.
So the revelation raises a couple important questions. Did he commit felony voter fraud in Texas by voting there while being a resident of Illinois? One can vote somewhere they're not currently living as long as they intend to return. But city law says Lee must list Chicago as his primary residence. So if indeed he voted illegally in Texas or legally in Texas, that means he's violating Chicago law.
Either he is in trouble in Texas or he's in trouble here. It could, because if he voted in Texas, and from what I read in the paper, he said that is his residency. That's where his family is. That's where his home is. He is temporarily here in Chicago working the job. Well, that's not what our ordinance says. You have to be a permanent resident here in Chicago to be an employee.
And that's longtime election attorney Bert Olson. Now, he says there's a possible solution. If Lee wants to keep working for the city, he can be terminated and then be hired on as an independent contractor, for which the residency requirement then does not apply. Interestingly, Tia and Terrence, the ordinance outlaws anyone getting a temporary place here as quote-unquote subterfuge to try and pretend they live in Chicago just to skirt that residency requirement.